Well, education has been decolonized many times. From 5th century Aryabhata's invention of Shunya, that is zero, on which the modern mathematics today stand, to Ramayana, which was written by Valmiki, is the greatest literary work of the century, and even till now, including to 15th century Ravidas, who has written the poems. Their examples, they're all lower castes who have challenged the Brahmanical merit that dominated the production of education, production of knowledge and dissemination of knowledge, not only during those times, but their work, which is relevant still now, poses a challenge to the order of today. But therefore, nobody is going to say that those struggles were decolonial struggles or they were lower castes who had done and challenged, the order of the day. So, decolonization struggle has always been there. However, the definition of decolonization, like we see today, which is more of a 20th century phenomenon, which is after the visible colonization by the European powers in the continents of Asia, Africa, Abiyalas, are getting more prominence. However, if you see, all of these figures who get prominence both during the times of Ravidas, Aryabhat, and the others, and even during the colonial times, are mostly men, So, if you see, there is always a colonization of decolonization, which has happened, and probably therefore, we are sitting in a conference today and still talking about decolonization, when decolonization is as old as the stones. Well, I'll not give a general talk on the colonization of decolonization. However, if we are going to use an intersectional perspective to analyze the situation of Siddis, from my recent experience when I visited them in Karnataka in December 2013. Siddis are said to be of African heritage descendants residing in pockets all over South Asia for hundreds of years now. In Karnataka, where I visited, Siddis speak the Siddhi language, which is a mixture of Konkani and Marathi, while they enjoy their coconut fish curry and soft dosas. There has been much emphasis on education among the Siddhi community. However, schools do not have many Siddhi students, nor does the universities have Siddhi students in Karnataka. If you go outside the Siddhi populated area, which is the northern part of Karnataka, say in a city like Bangalore, the masses see Siddhis as foreigners. It is rampant racism and, of course, obnoxious casteism, because Siddhis are considered to be on par with Dalits. And, of course, intertwined with patriarchy, prevent Siddhis, and especially Siddhi women, from mixing with the rest of Karnataka. When I met, the educated Siddhis who have been to schools, who are actually total 9 of them, among the 55,000 plus community which resides in the forested area of Karnataka. So, these 9 friends of mine, Siddhi friends of mine, I met them in December 2015 and I insisted that I would like to visit their village. They were all very surprised. They said that you're welcome, but you can't stay because, we ourselves don't go to our villages. We don't have water, we don't have electricity. So how is it that you are going to adjust? So I came more and more worried about why, if I am a Siddhi, why won't I visit my community? Just feeling ashamed that they do not have electricity or water, And then the firm woman that I am, I got my way. But the disconnect which higher education institutions created among the Siddhis and these educated Siddhis of mine and the community in their own villages are being questioned. And I'll give an example. I'll quote Radhika Siddhi, a 10-year-old girl who hates going to school, tells her uncle Jairam Siddhi, who is the first lawyer of the Siddhi community, "You're not a Siddhi, This is a shocking statement which made everybody uncomfortable. Because, first, he is the person who has been to the establishment academia and prides himself on being the first advocate. One statement which questioned all the credentials of Jairam, which Jairam has earned in his entire lifetime. So while I was playing with her, I asked her that, your uncle has studied hard, went to college, so why is he not a Siddhi? Then Radhika says, Siddhis don't go to colleges. On one hand, it brought out the situation which is of, the general situation, where Siddhis do not go to colleges or schools due to the rampant casteism, racism and sexism and the elitist nature of institutions. However, on other side, which is the most important question that Radhika raised, was whether Siddhi community benefit from the education that is imparted to them. And if one goes to count what are the benefits, then one's finger will not move beyond one, which is employment, which has been plaguing the world for a long time now, before 2008. So, so this is one of the reasons why Siddhis feel that if they go to colleges or schools, they're going to earn almost equal or probably less than what the educated Siddhi earns. So it's better to stay back in the village and be in agriculture or any other activities than going to schools. Rukhsana Siddhi is a middle-aged organic farmer from Gurandurpur village, who was also very concerned about my visit to the Siddhi village. Rukhsana said that many people from various universities have come and spoken to them, taken pictures, went back with empty promises, never satisfactory. They have fulfilled what they promised for. Later, these same people opened schools and NGOs and made huge money at the expense of Siddhis. Although individuals, most of us can understand and empathize with Rukhsana, but her concerns have thrown a direct challenge to the daily functioning of universities. So it has been time and again that establishment academia has gone back to the illiterate masses to prove that their academic theories, which they have, produced in watertight rooms with air conditioning, of course, is correct. And therefore, giving an example would be the Tadia experience. The aim of Tadia, which is the African descendants in Asia, as written on the UNESCO website and the UCLA website, says its aim is to outline the specific educational, employment and organizational capacity, thereby providing a base for the social development and income generation for communities of African descent. However, as one can understand, that these aims are yet to be fulfilled, and therefore Radhika Siddhi asks those questions and Rukhsana Siddhi raises those concerns. In 2003, when Tadia first started, it started with a lot of fanfare and had the European Union funding, and also in 2003 when Tadia started, it had the support from European Union and even the UNESCO slave route outcries of breaking the silence. And 2006, with much fanfare, Tadia had its first international conference on Siddhis. And it was so very fancy that even Jean-Pierre Angenot, who was the major person behind Tadia, had even temporarily shifted to Goa. Although this academic project seemed very serious, yet it fizzled out like most of them do. Most Siddhis knew nothing about this conference, and it all seems that those who have eventually come there was again a breeze-talking talking shop academic exercise by globe-trotting ivory tower citadel establishment academics who has the privilege and the luxury to engage in such merely scholastic antics. Just like Tadia, my previous experience with campaigns like Why is My Curriculum White or even alternative education institutions like Multiversity has made me realize that although they are talking about alternative curriculum and they've come to even, design another curriculum, however, this is again done in a very elitist way, kept away from the community. Therefore, the community never gets to decide what the curriculum is, or what are the curriculum which is supposed to, meet the needs of the community, or even if the curriculum at all, is required, or even that the discipline which we are being, for which the curriculum is designed is even needed. Say, for example, an anthropology syllabus is hardly required for many communities, because anthropology, for that matter, has been a subject which was created mostly for colonial uses, and therefore colonies and people who have been colonized do not require another alternative curriculum for the same subject. And even, for example, if you go to, say, political science, and political science in many communities are not separated from the economics of that economic need of that particular community, and even from the social need from the community. And therefore, if you just have a horse view of political science, and you design a syllabus and a curriculum according to it, which can start from Plato and end up in Foucault probably, but it is not going to be useful for the community. And therefore, if we are serious about designing an alternative curriculum, then we cannot have it without the community's engagement in the formation of that curriculum. If we are to really go forward, then what we require is creating community spaces of lifelong learning. And for example, with the Siddis example particularly, if you see that it will be for the first time that Siddis will get an even chance to even design their curriculum, to even express what they require from education. So that if we are to really do things differently, then let us do it differently, but just not saying that we are alternative and we are decolonial, without really taking into account the decolonial needs of the community. Professor Budhall has said, no global justice without cognitive justice. I would just go a step further and say that no global pluriversality without decolonial cognitive justice. Therefore, it is very important for any community to be involved in the process of knowledge formation and, of course, dissemination, and curriculum being one of the major parts of knowledge formation. Because this is a curriculum which gets, it kind of gets replicated all over the world. Because if a curriculum which has been followed by Harvard University is because of the whole colonial creation that we have, Harvard University is one of the best, and therefore the curriculum which Harvard University follows gets replicated in other global South universities. And therefore, if University of Sussex is also serious about taking into account the decolonial needs of other communities, then it must realize that curriculum is of vital importance. If we have to make DataFib function as a think tank and not fizzle out like campaigns which is initiated on decolonization of education, then we have to take into account the participatory nature of communities in the formation of the curriculum. Not only just the curriculum, but also beyond, which is decolonizing the education. If DataFib is to be a success, then DataFib has to regularly answer to the decolonial needs of the communities across the world. So OCDBC, if DataFib again is serious about being a different conference, which is today, then we have to talk about not the general situation about what is decolonization and how we are going to decolonize, or how wonderful it is to kind of have black faces and black skin people within the syllabus. But we have to talk about the action which Netaflix is going to take to improve the lives of millions of black faces and millions of black skinned people across the world.